Hello everyone, I'm Katra. This video is going to be a bit different from my usual format, but while working on the Genshin videos, I came upon this realization and I felt the need to release it in video form. I haven't played Zenless Zore Zero enough to be comfortable reviewing it. This video is not a review and it also has no structure or points. I just want to talk a little bit about what you've probably read in the title by now. When writing the script for the Genshin reviews and looking at what I liked and disliked about the games, I noticed that if it wasn't for sunk cost fallacy, I'd honestly rather be playing Zenless instead. There's many aspects of that game that I enjoy more, the main one being the gameplay. And looking at social media, I often find people praising the game a lot, who then go on to say that they don't actually play it, or that it's not one of their main gacha games. So why is this the case? Why do so many people love the game, but not that many people play it? I believe the main reason Zenless is not Hoyoverse's most played game is because it was the last to release. Now, you may be thinking, how does that matter at all? If a new game releases and it's better than the one you're currently playing, surely you would move over. Well, that may be true for any other genre, but it's not so simple for gacha games. It's easy to release yourself from a game that you've paid for and played on for a while, but it's way harder to do the same with a game that you've spent money on. Another issue is that with non-live service games, you don't need to allocate a part of your day to them, but with gacha games, you do. And with Zenless being the latest game from Hoyoverse, many people, including myself, we're already playing at least one of their games, in my case 2 of them. I only allow myself to play 3 gacha games at the same time because adding more would lose me too much time every day that I could spend on other more useful things. With me playing Genshin, Star Rail and Nikke, there's just no spot for Zenless, even if I would enjoy it more. And like I said before, you also have to consider sunk cost fallacy. Having already spent 4 years on Genshin and 1 year on Star Rail, it was way harder for me to quit them. You might be thinking that I could have quit Star Rail because 1 year isn't too much, but it was the only gacha game that my friends were also playing, so I didn't want to quit it. Okay, I might have lied a bit in the title. I don't think releasing last is the only mistake Zenless has done, though I do believe it's the most important one. But there's more factors at play here, at least in my case, that make me not want to play the game enough, even though I enjoy it. For starters, there's just too much stuff to do in Zenless, or at least there used to be. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I was really close to breaking my rule of only 3 gacha games, but I quit the game back in 1.3 because there were just too many events and quests at the same time. If the game was more like Star Rail with just 1 big event and 1 quest per patch, I might have kept playing it. But I remember back in 1.3 I had to do the Yanagi quest, the main quest, like 2 big events, 2 smaller events on top of that. It was just too much. My brain got overloaded and I said, yeah, there's no way I can keep this up, I'm quitting. This next reason is really dumb and it's probably only an issue for me, but I played Zenless on controller and I had to plug it in every time I wanted to use it. It might not seem like much, but for a really lazy person like me, having to pull out the controller, the cable, and plug it in just to do my dailies was pretty annoying after a while. Another reason is that the story, while good, didn't quite pull me in like Star Rail or Genshin. Maybe if I managed to keep playing until 1.4 I would have enjoyed the story more, since I've heard that patch was cool, but the story from 1.0 to 1.3 just wasn't that appealing to me. The quests were fine individually, but I didn't feel like the overarching plot was anything to write home about. There's another reason that might lead to quitting the game, and while this one didn't affect me at all because I play on PC, I have seen many players be affected by it. These games are huge, and as such, they require a lot of disk space to be played. If you're already playing something like Genshin and Star Rail, that's already around 80 GB of space taken away from you. Many people just don't have phones big enough to be able to play even 3 of the big gacha games, so they end up uninstalling one of them, and in many cases the victim ends up being Zenless, either because it's the latest one to be released or from any of the reasons I've mentioned above. One more thing that I want to mention is that I did try to come back, but I couldn't. In 1.4 I came back to pull for Miyabi with the gems I had left, and I didn't get her. Maybe if I had gotten her I would have stayed, but I don't really think so, because once you quit the game, coming back is nearly impossible. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Because even if you reinstall the game and log back in, you immediately get bombarded with the realization that you now have to catch up with all the old content before being up to date. In my particular case, it wasn't that much, and it was still enough to ruin my attempt to come back. Even now, I reinstalled the game just to record footage for the video, but seeing the pile of quests and past events here is drawing me back to the uninstall button. Now imagine for example a Genshin player who hasn't played since Inazuma and wants to come back now, and you'll clearly see what the issue is. Honestly, I feel like if they did a better job of presenting this to the player, it might be a bit better, but right now you just open the event tab and see that it's filled with like 10 events and then 5 more permanent ones. I think they should just hide the quote-unquote events, which are not really events and just promotions, and maybe even add a number on every event. that shows an estimate of how long it takes to complete it. Anyway, that's about every factor that caused me to end up quitting the game. It's not that many, and like I said, I think the main one was that it was the last game to come out from Hoyoverse, because it means I was already playing Star Rail and Genshin. And now I want to talk about what this means for the gacha industry, because I don't think I'm alone here. I think many people share my position, where they're already playing 2 or 3 gacha games they've been playing for a while and they just can't fit more into their lives. And now we're about to enter the next generation of gacha games. Neverness to Everness, Ananta, 7 Deadly Sins Origin, Azure Promilia, and many more are relatively close to release. And it's really hard for me to see them reaching long-term success. They will all get plenty of players on release, but after the hype dies down, I just cannot see them becoming a main gacha game for people. The beasts they need to take down have grown way too strong after this much time, and the unique concepts they're bringing to the table don't seem like big enough changes to make a difference. Maybe I'm just overestimating the effect of sunk cost fallacy on people. I mean, after all, Wuthering Waves and Uma Musume have seen relative success and seems like they're here to stay alongside the big Hoyoverse titles. But you have to understand that the more gacha games that are released, the harder there is for them to be successful. Just recently, Duet Night Abyss, what used to be an upcoming gacha game, announced that it was dropping all gacha elements by making all characters and weapons free and removing the stamina system. Seeing that, I feel validated in my claims, and I think the upcoming gacha games really need to think on how they're going to claim a spot for themselves in people's lives. I think a good place to start would be looking at forcing the player to log in every single day. Final Fantasy XIV is one of the biggest MMOs in the world, and the main director has said on many occasions that he doesn't want people to log into the game every day. He understands people have lives and many things to do other than playing a game, so the game is designed around that. I hope these next gacha games realize that they're going to need drastic changes in order to compete, because to be honest, most of them look pretty cool, and I would want to play a few of them if time permits. Anyway, that's everything I wanted to say. This was a way shorter video, but hey, I think I got my point across, and that's what really matters. And with that, I take my leave. See you next time.